I cursed?
No.
What am I?
You're my son.
I, Loki, Prince of Asgard. Odin's son.
Loki, between light and shadow. Among all the gods of Norse mythology, none confounds the world more than Loki. He is not the shining light like Baldur, not a warrior god like Thor, not a guardian like Heimdall, nor a ruler like Odin. He is something entirely different. A half-smile hidden behind every promise. Eyes that know everything, but never reveal the whole truth. A shape-shifting soul, one moment the savior, the next the spark of doom. Loki is born of chaos and the father of the end. He was never meant to rule, but to disrupt. Not to deliver justice, but to shake its very foundation. In Norse myth, Loki is everywhere, unbound by law, untouched by control, and unknowable by design. He is the mirror that reflects the contradictions of the human mind. Curiosity, jealousy, wit, rebellion, rage, and above all, loneliness. He is the trickster, but also the one tricked by the very dreams he once believed in. And maybe, just maybe, if you follow this story to the very end, you'll see that in a world obsessed with order, chaos is sometimes the only force strong enough to change everything. Loki, child of fire, of wind, and of all that never stays still. At the edge of the world, where thunder had never struck and frost still carried the breath of primordial chaos, a woman named Laufey gave birth to a child. He did not cry. He did not scream like the other Jotun newborns. He simply looked, with eyes far too knowing for something just born. His father was far-bodied, a fire giant, feared for his wrath and destruction. His mother, Laufey, was delicate as mist, withdrawn, yet holding within her veins something more dangerous than flame, silence. They named the child Loki, and from the moment he opened his eyes, he belonged nowhere. Not to Asgard, not to Jotunheim, ***. Loki bore the blood of giants, yet his body was not large. His mind was unlike the brute strength of the Jotnar. He was quick, slippery like a serpent, clever like a winter fox. The kind that hunts when the world is frozen and stronger beasts have fallen. When Odin and his brothers shaped the cosmos from Ymir's corpse, the first giant, he journeyed to the borders of the realms. And there, he met Loki. No one knows what Odin truly saw in him. A threat? A mirror? Or simply a twisted reflection of the flaws Odin dared not face within himself. But Odin brought Loki to Asgard, not as a prisoner, not as a servant, but as a brother. I don't need your loyalty, Odin said, only your unpredictability. And so Loki, child of fire and mist, became part of the divine, in a realm where he was never fully embraced, but never completely cast out. He belonged to no one, and wanted it that way. Loki was not strong like Thor, not wise like Odin, not gentle like Frigg, not dependable like Heimdall, but he possessed something no other god had, pure adaptability. He could become a salmon, a snake, a fly, a mare, a woman, an old man, a beauty, a beast, whatever the moment demanded. He was bound by no oath, no honor, no code. He could help the gods forge their mightiest weapons, and then, with a smirk, sabotage everything for the sake of a joke. No one knew what Loki truly wanted. Sometimes, not even Loki himself. He was the double-edged dagger Asgard kept at its side, useful in battle, feared in peace. Loki wasn't evil, he was myth's shadow. Every mythology needs a god who shakes the order. The Greeks had Eris, goddess of discord. India had Kali, the destroyer to make way for rebirth. And Norse myth had Loki. He didn't wage war for victory. He sowed doubt, unrest, movement, so that nothing remained still. When the gods grew arrogant, he mocked them. When the world stagnated, he saved it. In the most unexpected way. When truth was hidden, he revealed it with absurdity. Loki was the one who refused to let the world fall asleep in its own certainty. Because sometimes, a clever lie holds more value than a lazy truth. And so Loki, without throne, without crown, without medals, walked among the gods of Asgard like a wolf among lions. Not to rule, not to be a hero, but to cause disruption, because without chaos, how would we ever know if order was truly worth keeping? The children of Loki, when chaos gives birth to destiny. Loki is not merely the god of trickery. He is the father of some of the most apocalyptic forces in Norse mythology. No other deity bears a lineage as strange, wild, and fate-shattering as his. He is a father in ways no one dares to understand. He is a mother in ways the world can only close its eyes and accept. And his children? They were not born to live peacefully, but to crack the very foundations of cosmic order. Sleipnir, Odin's eight-legged horse. This horse was not born from love, but from a body trick. When Loki transformed into a mare to seduce a giant stallion, he impregnated himself, and later gave birth to Sleipnir, an eight-legged horse swifter than the wind, able to travel across sky, earth, and the realm of the dead. A sacred paradox, born from a joke, yet became Odin's most divine steed, carrying souls and traversing time itself. Sleipnir is not a monster, but a testament that even Loki, chaotic and irreverent, could create something more than divine. Fenrir, the wolf destined to devour Odin. From Loki and the giantess Angrboda came a wolf, not just massive, but destined to devour the Allfather. The gods, terrified, raised Fenrir in Asgard, then tricked him with the binding ribbon Gleipnir, crafted from things that should not exist, the sound of a cat's footstep, a woman's beard, a fish's breath. Fenrir bit off the war god Tyr's hand in exchange for trust. Then he waited. And during Ragnarok, Fenrir broke his chains, rampaged through the battlefield, and fulfilled his fate. He swallowed Odin whole, before Odin's son Vidar avenged him. Fenrir is the fury you lock away, until it erupts and no god can withstand it. Jormungandr, the world serpent, another child of Loki and Angrboda, cast into the sea encircling Midgard. Jormungandr grew so large he encircled the world, biting his own tail, becoming a symbol of cycles, entrapment, and self-imposed cages. He is Thor's eternal rival. In Ragnarok, he rises, poisons the sky, and clashes with Thor. Thor kills him, yet stumbles only 9 steps before dying to Jormungandr's venom. He is the storm beneath false peace, the truth hidden beneath order. When unleashed, he drags everything into a spiral no one can stop. Hel, the goddess of the dead. Unlike her monstrous siblings, Hel is half alive, half dead, her body split between flesh and decay. Odin saw her and cast her into Helheim, where she would rule over those who died without glory. She did not resist. She accepted her exile, and from that place, became the coldest queen among the 9 realms. When Baldur died, Hel refused to return his soul, because the world did not grieve sincerely. Hel is the silent monument to what the gods cast aside. She reminds us, not every death is unjust. Some are the price of indifference. Narfi and Vali sacrificed sons, 2 lesser-known sons of Loki. They caused no destruction. They shouted no prophecies. Yet they became the foundation of their father's punishment. When the gods chose to bind Loki, they turned Vali into a wolf, forcing him to kill Narfi. Then they used Narfi's entrails to bind Loki to the rock. The children had no voice. They were born only to be offered, symbols of the sins of their father. And that may be Loki's deepest tragedy, not the fall of gods, but the pain of a father who couldn't save his sons, because he was the reason they died. When jokes become tragedies, Loki and his legendary mischief. Sif's hair, a prank that forged the gods' greatest weapons. Sif, Thor's wife, was famed for her flowing golden hair, a symbol of Midgard's prosperity and harvest. One night, Loki crept into her chamber and cut it all off. No motive, no grudge, just a prank. Thor was furious. He grabbed Loki by the throat and promised to break every bone in his body. As always, Loki begged for mercy and offered to fix it in his own way. He descended to Svartalfheim, the realm of the dwarves, and stirred a rivalry between 2 master forges. The result? Asterisk Mjolnir, the hammer of thunder for Thor. Asterisk Gungnir, Odin's spear that never misses. Asterisk Draupnir, the gold multiplying ring. Asterisk Gullinbursti, the flaming boar of Freyr. Asterisk Skidbladnir, the ship that folds like a napkin yet always catches wind. From one absurd joke, Loki accidentally gifted Asgard the most legendary artifacts in its history. But more than that, he discovered something terrifyingly beautiful. If you strike the right nerve, a joke can tip the balance of the cosmos. A stallion, a mare, and an 8-legged horse. Asgard needed walls. Strong, divine walls. A giant builder arrived with a bold offer. If I finish on time, I want the sun, the moon, and the hand of Freya. Odin, persuaded by Loki, agreed. But only if he completed it alone, using just one horse. The builder almost succeeded. Asgard panicked. Odin exploded in rage. Loki, once again under threat, transformed into a mare to distract the builder's stallion. The scheme worked. The wall was left unfinished. Thor crushed the builder's skull. But Loki became pregnant. He later gave birth to Sleipnir, the 8-legged steed, swiftest of all creatures, destined to become Odin's own mount. A prank turned into myth. A scandal became a legend. And perhaps most strange of all, none of the gods ever questioned Loki giving birth. Because deep down, they all understood. With Loki, there are no lines. There are only possibilities waiting to be broken. The death of Baldur, Loki's greatest betrayal, and the fall beyond redemption. Baldur, the most radiant of all gods, whose every step shone with light and every word soothed the world, began to dream of death. Not nightmares, but visions so deep, so foreboding, that even Odin grew afraid. In desperation, Frigg, Baldur's mother, traveled across all 9 realms, begging every being, every stone, every stream, every breeze, to swear an oath never to harm her son. And they did. All of them, except for one. A single mistletoe sprig, too young, too small, too harmless, she thought, to ever be a threat. But Loki was listening, and he tucked that knowledge away, like a dagger waiting for the right moment. On the day the gods gathered on the meadows of Asgard, Baldur stood in the center, smiling, while gods hurled weapons at him in awe and delight. Axes shattered. Arrows fell limp. Spears bounced away like twigs. It was a divine game, a celebration of invincibility. Until Loki arrived. He said little, only turned to Hod, Baldur's blind brother, and whispered, "Why don't you join them?" Hod chuckled bitterly. "I cannot see." Loki, his voice like a winter breeze, soft as a razor's edge, offered, "Then let me guide your hand. Here is your arrow." And he placed the mistletoe in Hod's grip. Light, harmless, sharp. He aimed the hand, and Hod threw. No one noticed, until Baldur exhaled sharply. The light faded from his eyes, and he collapsed, like the sun vanishing in the middle of day. Silence. Not a breath. Not a sound. Then, Frigg's scream shattered the sky. Thor roared. Odin bowed his head, and from that moment on, Loki was no longer forgiven. He had crossed the one line even gods cannot ignore. He ran. He became a salmon, slipping through rivers. He became mist, hiding in forgotten places. But the gods were done playing. They cast their nets. And Thor, barehanded, pulled Loki from the waters, like dragging an ancient lie out of the mouth of truth. Then came the punishment. The gods took the entrails of Loki's own son, Narfi ***, and bound him to 3 stones deep inside a cave. Above him, they hung a serpent. Drop by drop, its venom dripped onto Loki's face. His wife, Sigyn, knelt beside him, catching each drop with a wooden bowl. But whenever she left to empty it, venom touched his skin, and Loki writhed in such agony that the earth itself trembled. Mortals call it earthquakes. No more laughter, no more clever smiles. Only the endless twisting of a god trapped by the very pain he once spread. And the most terrifying truth? They didn't kill him. They chose to let him live. Because they knew one day, Loki would break free. And on that day, it wouldn't be a joke. It would be a death sentence for the entire cosmos. Ragnarok, when the bound becomes the bringer of fire. Ragnarok didn't begin with thunder. It didn't start with Odin's fury or Thor's hammer. It began with a tremor, a subtle quake in the earth. One moment when Sigyn couldn't catch the serpent's venom in time. One drop fell on Loki's brow. He flinched. Once, twice, then hundreds of times. Chains strained. Stones cracked. And from the deepest shadows of a nameless cave, a laugh echoed, not triumphant, but the laugh of someone who has waited 1,000 years in silence. Loki was free. He didn't scream. He didn't shout. He simply walked, like an icy wind, and opened every gate to the underworld. He went to Helheim, where his daughter, Hel, ruled over the forgotten dead. He summoned the world serpent, Jormungandr, his son born of a giantess. From the depths of the sea, he called for Fenrir, the great wolf, once bound by the gods with Gleipnir, a ribbon thinner than a hair, stronger than any oath. And they answered, not with words, but with movement, with roars, with an ancient vow never broken. We will end this age. From the north, ice melted. From the east, the Jotnar marched. From Helheim, the dead rose. And Loki led them all, his hair wild, his eyes dry, his hands clenched around a truth the gods had buried. Every wall built, every punishment passed, every son lost, was the price of a game of power, a game Loki was never invited to play fairly. Heimdall, guardian of the Bifrost, stepped forward. Their eyes met. No words, just breath. Then, collision. Two forces launched like a prophecy carved in the bones of time. Heimdall dies. Loki dies, ***. Simultaneously. No victor. No survivor. They always knew. But they fought anyway, not to win, but to fulfill what was written long before the first rune of myth was carved. Odin is devoured by Fenrir. Thor slays Jormungandr, but stumbles 9 steps before venom silences him. The sun and moon are swallowed. The sky splits, and myth collapses like dry branches in a storm of flame. Loki no longer laughs. There's nothing left to laugh at. He simply watches. Asgard falls. Yggdrasil trembles. Midgard burns. And he whispers, so soft that no god hears. But all 9 realms feel it in their bones. At least this time, I wasn't deceived. When the Trickster finally chose a truth ***, Loki died in Ragnarok. He and Heimdall, the sleepless guardian of the heavens, clashed like the final collision of order and chaos. Neither yielded. Neither hesitated. Both struck. Both bled. Both fell. Their deaths made no thunder. No bard sang of it. It was quiet. Precise. Inevitable. The full stop to a tale that had spiraled beyond control. But truthfully, Loki had died long before. He died the moment Baldur fell, struck by a sprig of mistletoe. He died beneath the earth, when venom dripped endlessly onto his brow. He died when Sigyn, his loyal wife, held his pain without ever asking why. He died when he realized, no matter how clever you are, you cannot outwit loneliness. His physical death was just the last rite. The real death came when no one believed him anymore, not even himself. After Ragnarok, the gods vanished. The old world crumbled. But Loki was not cast as some devil in whispered legends. He became a memory, a quiet reminder that even the greatest liars were once just souls longing to be accepted. No statues were built in his honor. No prayers whispered his name. Yet stories of him endure, like the wind after a storm, like a flame that burns, yet also illuminates, like a trickster who, above all others, dared to say, I refuse this order you call justice. Loki died, but the question he asked still echoes. If you are truly just, why are you so afraid of me? And that was enough. He needed no redemption, no forgiveness, no explanation, only to be remembered, exactly as he lived. A god of mischief, a rebel unbroken, a shard of chaos that refused to be tamed. Loki, gone in ruin, but never bowed.